Hello everyone, I'm Jason Newton.
And I'm Deborah Weiner. Welcome to this Maryland Peace of Mind special, Meeting the Need. As conversations about mental health become more common, we'd like to help those who are seeking assistance.
First, let's start with the numbers. According to the nonprofit Mental Health America, nearly 50 million Americans, or 19.9% of American adults, experienced a mental illness in 2019. More than half of those adults do not receive treatment. Nearly 5% of adults report having serious thoughts of suicide, and this has increased every year since 2011.
And young people are not immune from stress. The same study shows 15% of youth experience a major depressive episode in the past year, and more than 60% of them receive no mental health treatment at all.
So, how do you get the help that you need? It starts with speaking up. If you're in need of emotional support, you can call or text 988 and connect to the National Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. We've also set up the Maryland Peace of Mind Phone Center. If you're looking for mental health resources or just need a person to talk to, call 410-261-2300. The phone lines are open until 9 o'clock tonight. Again, that number is 410-261-2300.
And tonight we will share the stories of people who are just like you, who are having real conversations about mental health and wellness amid ongoing struggles in the world we live in today.
Up first, discovering safe spaces for complicated conversations, a community discussion that's long overdue. From our hometowns to Hollywood, the barbershop has long been considered a safe space for black men to open up.
Honey, black people don't go to therapy. We go to barbershops. That's where we talk out our problems. Or we watch the movie Barbershop.
The conversations are often funny,
but in front of y'all, I don't speak my mind. Rosa Parks ain't do nothing but sit her black down.
but they can also get quite serious.
If you're from a certain place, you always feel like they got your back. And in a sense, like now, how can she feel like America has her back? Like, I would be feeling like, do I even want to go back to America if I've been gone over 130 days?
So, with the suicide rate spiking among black men and boys, we wanted to have a much needed conversation about a taboo topic among black men. So we came to Reflection Eternal Barbershop in Baltimore's Charles Village. And before we begin our conversation, we should introduce you to our guests. There's Andrea Brown, Executive Director of the Black Mental Health Alliance, Joshua Harris, Vice President of the Baltimore NAACP, Wesley Hawkins, Executive Director of the Nalita Project. There's also our very own Barry Sims from WBAL. And we also want to thank Sundiata Osaji and his team here at Reflection Eternal Barbershop for hosting us. So thank you everybody for coming. I think even in the salon, Andrea, and in the barbershop as well. I mean, we'll talk about everything. We'll talk about our kids and we'll talk about our parents. Go as far as talk about your sex life. But for some reason, there is a barbed wire around our mental health. We'll come in and dap each other up, say how you doing, but it's not really how you doing. So I guess my curiosity is why can't we say how you feeling on a regular basis?
I think it's about conditioning. I think that is what we have been accustomed to, is the surface level, all is well, right? The surface level, all is well. But the beauty of today and conversations like these is that we can go beyond that and start to break the stigma of, I'm doing good, I'm fine, all is well. So I think what an opportunity to start to have the conversation about what's real.
I guess the uncomfort is a two-way street. I think you're uncomfortable in saying I'm not well, but even to the receiver, if someone says, because you expect someone to say, yeah, I'm all right, but that one time you ever had somebody say, man, I'm not right. I'm like, oh, I don't know how to follow that up. What do I say next? Is it the discomfort?
A lot of the times people don't know that they're not okay. A lot of the times in the communities that we grow up in, we are taught and raised to be conditioned to live in circumstances that creates a hardcore demeanor within our young men and our young ladies, that they feel like they have to hold in that pain, that trauma, and not express it to the world.
Sure.
Yeah, I think that Wesley hit a great point there, and particularly as black men, we've been conditioned to hold everything inside and not have moments to show weakness, right? Society has never, historically, going back to, we have not been allowed to be able to show weakness. And now if you have moments of mental distress, your perceived threat as a black man in America is only amplified, right? It's not, let's figure out how we can help how we can be of assistance to you. It's, oh, he's dangerous, right? He's not stable. Whereas other folks are given that grace to have those moments of weakness and those moments to break down, to cry, to tear up. We've never really been allowed historically to do that. And so now we've compiled a sense of hypermasculinity to where it's weakness to show or deal with emotions or talk about how you feel. And so I think now it's time for us to begin to do that work to really break down and acknowledge that it's okay to have conversations about our feelings. It's okay to not be okay, right?
I think we have to change the language though, right? So instead of you weep, it's weakness, you weep because it's emotion. So we've got to change the language. You know, years ago in France, if they played their national anthem, you'd see men weeping. You would. Now, obviously, this is America, and there's a whole, I mean, we've got systemic racism and a number of other things, but I think we've got to start to change the language.
But I'll say this. I've had more conversations with guys I've gone to high school with or whatever who have said in a conversation, oh yeah, so then I went to go see my therapist, and that is not a sentence that I ever remember hearing growing up. I mean, now more than ever, I hear guys, oh yeah, my therapist was telling me this, that, and the other thing. That wasn't a sentence I heard before. So I think guys are at least reaching out, but I don't know if they want to let people. It's almost like, you know, it's a closeted reaching out. You don't know if you're ready.
One of the things though is not only dealing with your own trauma, but dealing with other people's trauma at the same time. Because a lot of times you will look to, okay, I need your help. I need you to help me take care of whatever this is. And you're dealing with your own things, but you got to stop yours and put it aside to start dealing with this person really needs to feel better. So let me see what I can do to deal with that.
But when you talk about trauma, a part of that is when you talk about certain communities, those things become normalized. So if you in certain pockets of certain cities, especially Baltimore, a lot of those children, their parents grew up on drugs. So they are conditioned and used to having a drug addict mother or a father that's in and out of prison, or living on a block where it looks like abandoned house, abandoned house, abandoned house. Another person live here, another abandoned house. We've normalized those things in our community. So if that trauma is normalized, you don't know you're supposed to hurt from that. You don't know that's not okay. You don't know.
Because for them it's normal. Like
exactly. So that's your everyday life.
So for them it's not trauma, it's just, it's Monday.
And I think there's a sense of, I think the word is desensitized, right? We become desensitized to things, and it impacts us in ways that we don't even really know until we get the opportunity to talk to somebody and be like, oh, this is not normal. I'll never forget, for me growing up, I didn't recognize that things weren't normal until I went away from home and I got the opportunity to go play basketball, and I got to college and I was like, oh, it's okay to do this, or it's okay to do that. It was just a total different environment, things that I had normalized that I didn't realize that other people don't do. You know?
I think in our community as young men, I think a lot of it started with the older gentlemen in our neighborhoods and in our communities, right down to our uncles, where when you were a kid and you would cry, if you fell and hurt yourself, you had men telling you to get up. Get up, or punch you in the chest. Stop crying. You acting like a girl. You telling the kid to be a man, act like a man, be a man. And he's sitting here crying, and he can't even express himself because he's in fear of punishment or ridicule because he's crying. So we've been taught to hold our feelings in. You know, if you're a girl, if you cry, or the phrase, men don't cry. And it's been suppressed so long in us that when you speak of your hurt and your pain, it's a shock to people. It's like, oh, wow, somebody's talking about their hurt and their pain, and it's almost a situation where you look away. Again, like the brother said, you know, it's uncommon for a man to cry. And, you know, I've experienced it, you know, not holding things in all my life. And when I had a loss, I couldn't stop crying. You know what I mean? And it took me to a point where I had to go get therapy.
As barbers, we sit on the front line too with our clients. We deal with everybody. We like the threshold. We the new level of healers, therapists, and so on and so on. So the stories y'all report, some of the stories we hear probably before y'all even get it. You know what I mean? Because we deal with everybody from the politician to the street guy to the preacher, you know what I mean, to the businessman and to the schoolboy and the schoolgirl. you know what I mean, the nurse, doctors, so on and so on. So we deal with everybody, head up on the front line of the threshold of everything that's going on. But I will say this, all my years of doing this, the conversation has started. We made a lot of ground. We made a lot of ground in this work of mental health and people being able to be transparent and being able to communicate, which is most important, because if you don't talk and you keep it inside of you, can't nobody help you. But this is an intimate space that we have here, and it's only fitting that we have this conversation here because a lot of people come in here with their pain, they dump it off, but we also help them and lead them to the therapist. We lead them to the person who can help them work out and get on a regimen to tap into their willpower and, you know what I mean, go the extra mile, you know what I mean, to believe in themselves more, build confidence and things of that nature.